Just getting into the holidays there.
It's awesome. Also, I haven't unpacked everything, so it's all the holiday clothes that are actually out. We won't.
Welcome to Town of Manlius Board meeting. Supervisor, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Elaine. And tonight we have Lisa from our codes department is going to be helping us with the broadcasting. Once again, our meeting is being recorded and live streamed and will be broadcasted live and posted on the town website. So before we begin, our first item actually is the open podium, which is, we open that up for 15 minutes to the public. Anyone here in the room who would like to speak, or if there's anyone that is responding to us via live stream.
I currently have nobody in the waiting room.
Yes, sir. Come on right up and introduce yourself and try to keep it to 5 minutes best you can.
Thank you. As you might recall, I'm Steve Benson and I'm a Manlius resident. As you might recall, I was here when we were going through a number of items regarding the solar. So when I saw on the agenda that these were in writing and contract form of who's going to be doing this now, I wanted to highlight the fact that I had sent in some language to all the boards actually before the moratorium. The language went directly to holding those that are purveying the large solar arrays in our area, which I now see proliferating, to a responsible level of the supply chain and guaranteeing that they're not providing any of their parts, their solar arrays that are coming from unethical sources. And we see this now. You see it in the news every day. All these countries backing out of the Olympics. It's no longer a shimmer on the horizon. We see that there are problems with where these arrays are coming from. We were told by CDE when I asked the question, and the gentleman was here, that they would source their product from elsewhere. But I think it's important that we actually put in the language something that holds their feet to the fire. Because down the road, you're not going to want to have this a problem. So albatross around your neck says there's 10,000 arrays up there that came from Jing generation. You can look at the nameplate data on the back, but the companies need to be held to account to ensure that they give the board assurance. And that's in the language that I provided, and I was assured that it was then distributed through the. So I was hoping to see some of that language in the contractual paperwork that I saw, but I didn't see any. Perhaps it's somewhere else. But please consider that. I'm strongly recommending. Because I'd like to go see those nameplate data. I'd like to make sure, but I'd rather have the company say, hey, we didn't do it. Well, we supplied all this stuff through reputable sources. Okay? I think that you would rather have that too. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I know you spent a lot of time with the solar committee. So if there's anything you want to add to that, sorry.
Well, I think the planning board was also informed of your concern, and that they have been asking each of the applicants where they source their material.
But did they get answers?
They did get answers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Phil.
I'm sorry. sorry. So I remember, sir, Mr. Benson, when you came before, I don't think you'll get a satisfactory response as specifically as you really want, I don't think, and I wanted to address that from what I understand. I think you could certainly count on your town board and the planning board to follow existing laws and best practices. And I think that asking the town to hold very specifically these businesses to an even higher standard, the same way as if we were purchasing jewelry would say we go through an extra certification process, or if we were sourcing chocolate or any of the, like I think I brought up MICA when you're talking about, I think that we're not in a position or prepared to do that. If there was a specific advocacy action that you were aware of related to a specific producer that you were aware of, I think that would be really important information. And I would encourage you to come forward with that. We're in a position now where we buy things off of Amazon for the town and other places, and we are not going through a litmus test to understand business practices that are hidden to consumers in the US. So I don't know if it would be satisfactory, because I don't think we'll put in that specific language, but I don't want you to think that I don't care about business practices.
The language I used was simply taken from best practices that have been adopted by industry-wide groups, leadership in these industries.
We are in process of amending the solar siting law. So that would be an opportunity to strengthen the sourcing component of that document without specifying as much as you're saying that we're not going to do a chain of custody examination for every product that we buy.
Exactly. Thank you. That actually helps narrow it down. I want to understand where we are in our understanding. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's kind of keep in mind what the role of the town is, and the role of the planning board is, and the role of the zoning board of appeals is when it comes to projects like solar. It's simply an opportunity for the town to review the zoning component, the zoning aspects of the project, and how it sits, how it looks, how it operates,
How it impacts the
how
neighborhood.
it impacts the neighborhood and the town. It's not to delve into the business practices. In fact, we can't delve into the business practices of any specific individual business. We don't, and that's not the role of the town when it comes to projects like this.
We want them to be law abiding.
We provide site plan, we did it, we're doing a site plan right now for Target. We don't ask Target where they purchase their merchandise from. We can't. It's not our responsibility. That is not something we as a town would do. We look at the drive-through that they're proposing, make sure that the traffic doesn't conflict with each other, make sure that the lighting on the building isn't going to spill over onto other people's property. Those are the types of things that the planning board, the zoning board, or frankly, the town board would consider. We don't consider the business practices of businesses coming into the town. And I think it's safe to say, I don't think we can.
I'll add too that most of the companies that we're sourcing materials from are not publicly traded companies. And so it's quite literally impossible because they're not required to disclose their business practices. So to vet every single metric of a private company is impossible to do if they haven't shared that data. And even then, what are they not sharing? They're not required to disclose those things. And even if they are publicly traded, to evaluate their corporate social responsibility is extremely difficult to do company by company by company. And I don't think that we have the, even if we were legally able to do it, it would be outside the scope of what our municipality is capable of doing. We're not in the business of vetting corporations. There are national and federal laws that regulate trade and that look at corporate social governance of businesses from around the world. So I'd encourage you to talk to our congressman and our senator about regulating goods being purchased from China, if that's something that you're interested in. But that's something that would be far outside the scope of what we would be able to do here in our town.
Very good.
There's
Anyone else
somebody
on the
else?
board? Okay. Thank you, Steve. Do we have anyone else for open podium tonight? Still no hands up over there? Okay, very good. All right, let's move on to item 4, which is approval of the minutes of November 17th.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 17th.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. And any comments on the minutes at all? Okay, very good. And we move on to item 5, which is approval of the abstract number 23.
So, Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to approve abstract number 23 in the amount of $352,971.73.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. There's an extra week in there for the abstract. Now, next, we have item 6, which is setting a date for the organizational meeting, which will be in January. And I believe we do have some dates that are the 5th, that's what we're looking at. So, so we do need to have a motion to set that
At 6:30.
at 6:30.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to set the organizational meeting for January 5th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Item 7, we have reappointment of Celeste Griner to the Board of Assessment Review. This is a 3-year term from October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2024. Who would like to take the
I
lead on
would
this?
like to make a motion to reappoint Celeste Griner to the Board of Assessment Review.
I'd be happy to second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Yeah, we seem to have a good team there with that.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah. All right, and item 8, okay, we have 2 openings on the planning board and 1 opening on the zoning board. The 1 opening on the planning board, I just wanted to make note tonight that is the one, Fred Gilbert's really isn't up until December of 2022. I have in my hand an email from him confirming the conversation we had that he intends to resign from the planning board effective December 31st, 2021. And he has many reasons for doing this, but I know that I checked with Lisa today and how long Fred has been on. She said her record so far, I'm gonna go back to 2002. Is that correct? So 19 years. I mean, that's a tremendous effort that, and he was also chairman at some point, at one point in time too. So I just want to thank Fred for all of his work that he has done over the years on the planning board and just in general, what he's done in the town of Manlius too.
It's a real gentleman, great to work with.
So, I guess we just need to discuss this.
Do we have to
basically.
accept his resignation?
We
Well,
did that at
do you
the
want
last
to do
meeting.
that or want to wait till his term ends?
No, I think we
What do we
did
do?
that.
Because we ran into-
I thought we talked about that.
Well,
at the
we
last
can-
Well,
meeting.
when did he give a date? on
Yes,
it?
December 31st.
Okay, so we'll accept his resignation
For that date?
For
For that
that.
date.
Okay, all right, let's have a motion
All
for
right,
that.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Fred Gilbert. Wish him well on December 31st
From the planning
for
board.
the planning board.
Okay, great. Do I have a
Thank
second?
him for his years of service.
Yes. very much so.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried.
And is the other term for the full 7 years then?
Yes, one term, Mike Leroy, I believe his term ends in December. So it's, we traditionally the last few years interviewed for that opening position again, because Mike's more than welcome to reapply. And we also have, as we know, Jim Campbell, which I think we already accepted his resignation earlier this year, didn't we?
Yes.
We did, okay. So His will be a 5-year term for the zoning board. So I don't know if this, and we're looking at letters to be submitted of interest by December 15th, 2021 for these openings.
Where I think we're just asking for a resume and a letter.
Yep.
Of interest, so that would be great. Looking forward.
And,
to
and
it.
people should send that to Kay? How are we doing that?
I think it is.
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
the post,
I think
it's
this-
up on the post.
Yeah.
On
On
our website. Yeah, on the website right now.
I
And
know one was just
Or
dropped
on
off. to
Facebook,
her.
Should they go to the chair of the planning and zoning?
Well, what Kay is doing is she's sending out the letters and resumes to either chair, both if needed, along with the town board, should be getting those.
I can check right now to see where we say too.
Okay,
On Facebook, we indicated, we linked to the information on the town website.
Yep.
And when you go on the town website,
Mhm.
it says that you email resume, and if you click on it, that resume goes to Anne.
it's going to you, Ann.
We can definitely adjust that on the website.
Yeah.
Good to know, right? All right, very good. All right, anyone, anything else you want to say?
So we just want to encourage people to
Yeah.
consider serving. Most of the meetings are, well, they're often twice a month, actually.
And again, Fred's is
A 1 year.
1 year, 1 year term, right, through 2022. So forgot to mention that.
And I think too, something to say is, even if people don't, this is an opportunity. This is a good place to start with getting involved and engaged and stuff. So even if you don't think you're super qualified, send in your information, go through the interview.
Mhm.
And if you're not the best candidate, you won't be chosen, but we'll know that you're interested, and we'll have, honestly know for all the future things to reach out and try to engage with. So.
There are so many committees that you could plug into. We have so much cool stuff we're working on. So
Yeah.
any letter that gets submitted, there's plenty of places. So you can express in the letter your areas of interest, and anyone who wants to help with their local government, we will find a way to plug you in.
Very well said.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Very good. And so move on to item 9, which we have been interviewing, Caitlin, Ann, and I have been interviewing the code enforcement officer position. And we did come to a decision that we've sent the resume of this individual. Caitlin, would you like to make a statement on
Yeah.
the choice?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did miss the first round of interviews because I was homesick with COVID-19. So I hadn't yet met the candidate that Ann and Ed had already been interviewing. But we had 3 people come in. They were all, very unique, very different, all had something to offer our town. And it's okay if I say who it is, right?
Yes,
That's
yeah.
the point of this. I just wanna make
That's what we
sure.
want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll know.
But the third person that we met with, Tom Poitras, was fantastic. He's been working in the town of DeWitt, and he was someone who demonstrated certainly knowledge about the job, which is first and foremost the most important thing that we were looking for.
Mhm.
And he was credentialed. He had all of the qualifications that we were looking for, but also he seemed like someone who will go, or who has already gone above and beyond in terms of efficiency, communication with the people that he'll be working with in his department, energy efficiency, and renewable energy. So there was just so much opportunity. I felt very excited. I was ready to offer him the job right in the meeting, but figured that we shouldn't do that. So I didn't, but we did extend an offer, and Tom did accept. And so, so we're here this evening to make that official.
Yes, and we should, and I think all of you did receive his resume information, and if anyone has any comment or conversation they'd like to have regarding this choice.
Yeah, any questions from anyone,
Yeah,
I'd be happy to.
if anything came up. Otherwise, what we will do is we'll have a motion to hire Tom at the salary intended. We need to also mention that. Okay,
Can you remind me?
yes, that's correct.
All right, no questions, everyone good?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion that we hire Tom Poitras as our code enforcement officer at a salary of $58,500. And then in 6 months, that would be increased by 2%.
Yes,
pending the probationary period.
very good, very good. 6 months.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Like, some of our second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Very good. And,
Very happy we
And-
finally found someone.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he's starting soon, right?
Yes, he can start either Monday, the 13th, or the 20th, whichever you prefer.
Monday, the
Yeah.
13th.
We actually have an assignment plan already.
and what I'll do in the meantime, of course, I'll get an official letter out to him, congratulating him, and also letters to the other 2 individuals that applied. Just let him know that we made other choices, but we have, that's the normal practice to do that.
Yeah, I can only pick one person, so.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be doing monthly, well, I'll be joining once a month with meetings, but he'll be starting off with weekly or bi-weekly meetings with the department. So people can get a chance to meet him, get to know him,
Yeah.
and he's gonna spend a lot of time learning what everyone's already doing. He communicated that very effectively during the interview. I think everyone's gonna like him a lot.
Yes, I think so too. All right, very good. Thank you, Caitlin. And now we can move on. Now, I see our historian is not here tonight, which is unusual.
She's not going out.
She's not going
she's
out,
not.
so it's not unusual.
Well, it's also snowing.
In this weather, yeah.
But as usual, Barb Rivette has sent everyone a report that you all received. Quite thorough. In fact, I asked John, I was trying to find that, the video that, and then I remembered after I
Yeah,
said, oh
we
yeah,
actually-
I've seen this.
We found, it
Yeah.
never made its way to YouTube, but we found it on Facebook, so we're gonna get it posted on YouTube and we'll share it again. I mean, it's a
It's a
amazing
great piece.
hour-long informational
that was-
session.
yeah.
I
It's-
went looking for it because she said however many views, and I thought, well, I didn't get a chance to see
Yeah.
it. but I
Was
couldn't find it.
it wasn't the art history session?
It's the one with you and Sarah.
Yeah.
But it just never made its way to YouTube.
Oh, great, because
Yeah, that's why I couldn't
it's on our
find it.
website.
Yeah,
it's on our
So-
website.
So John, you're taking care of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it up on YouTube, just so that it's there as well.
So
And then we'll
Bobby,
post it again on Facebook and everything.
She was so tickled to know that she could reach that many people
Oh, I know.
through it, and so I
Like
thought that was
2,000
great.
viewers, she said,
Yes,
yes.
and more
We
by
should
now.
get her an Instagram account.
Yes.
I would definitely follow
I think
that.
if she were paired with somebody who uses that medium too more often in a partnership, yeah, she'd be able to. That'd be very cool.
I bet she'd have a lot of cool stuff to share.
You know, one of the questions I would have for her is how many town supervisors has she works with? A lot.
And mayors.
Yeah.
Yes, well, and mayors
Mhm.
too, yes.
Mhm.
Very good.
And
So,
can
but
I
anyway, if
just
anyone.
mention,
Oh,
since
go
you
ahead.
got the Historical Society there, the Miniature Festival of Trees
Yeah, oh,
is still on
Oh.
until Friday.
okay.
And they are at the Resort Lifestyle
Mhm.
Community Center. You can go in and see them. However, all the bidding is done through Facebook.
Right,
So-
okay.
Cool.
I did see that.
Go in and take a look at them.
Yeah.
Fun.
Outstanding, and, you know, the funds go to educational programs
Yes.
and through the Manlius Historical.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Did anyone have any comments or anything on Barb's report at all, or we could go with that? Again, she's always
Amazing.
timely on, with her report
Mhm.
every year. Yeah, she's very good about
I
that.
think time's kind of her thing.
Very good. All right, so the next item, we're moving right on to the highway superintendent.
Wow.
So Rob, I think you had some auction items here from.
Yep, I hope everyone got a copy of those. We
Yeah, we
got
did.
them finally this morning. The auction actually ended last night at 9 o'clock last night, so, obviously, I think the chief's, and, he said these put in front of him, I think he's good with them. But, we sold,
Really good.
over 15 vehicles, mostly police vehicles. So the, I guess I want to say, the highway had $19,500 worth of equipment sold, which is basically all surplus vehicles. And the police had $52,670, so I need a motion to accept all the bids as noted.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Those carried.
And the only other thing I've got, Ed, is, and I talked to Tim briefly on this, and I just want to bring the board up to speed a little bit. I think you received a letter from the state.
Yep.
On the shared service agreement, that we've gotten just about every year, I think, since I've been highway superintendent. Basically, the long and the short of it is if this, in case the governor does not file for a state of emergency in a particular situation where we would have to work with the state DOT. This would supersede, so if they didn't do state of emergency, this would fall in place.
Okay.
So basically, it's everything from winter, spring, summer, any of that type of thing, up to $25,000 can be used from either department. The chances of the town highway ever probably using the state's equipment or the state's
Yeah.
stuff is highly unlikely. We would reach out to other local towns and villages to do that. But anyway, the bigger portion of this, every year, there's an indemnification clause that's in their contract.
Yeah.
It basically indemnifies the state from any liability. So Tim, over the years, has kind of said, well, if they won't, indemnify us,
Right.
then we're probably most likely not gonna sign a contract. So they asked us if we would send them a letter. Tim said he was gonna review it and to send something out. But I want to make sure if the board heard something back, that's the direction we're at.
Okay. Yeah, Tim?
So we're simply gonna ask for a reciprocal indemnification clause. We do all the time, because we have to indemnify them for any accident or emissions that we make. They should indemnify us for any accident or emissions. that they make. So I will ask for that. See what happens.
See what happens.
Well, if it's anything like the past history, they probably won't.
Well, but we still have to follow up. on that.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Well, then I'm good. at it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
At 59 next week.
What's that?
Temperatures.
Yeah.
I really want a white Christmas, Rob, if you could make that happen.
There's a lot of things I can do, Caitlin.
I feel like you're like Mother Earth or like a
Shit, Mother
mother.
I feel like Father Earth.
Well, okay, let's move on to our attorney here. Tim, so I think you have a few items here that you want to go over.
First one is a resolution that Lori Peschel has asked us to actually renew with a couple of different conditions to allow our property taxpayers who are late in paying taxes to make partial payments. There's one. I cite real property tax law 925A. It's actually 928A. So I corrected that on my copy and I will send it to you. But other than that amendment or that change.
So I'll make a motion as amended
Yeah.
to approve a resolution for authorization of partial tax payment.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on this? Are you good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
It's a good thing to do.
Yep.
For the rest
I
of
think
us,
so.
absolutely.
Right, Tim?
Next several items, so while it looks like there's a lot of them, they're actually one. It's the CEE agreement we talked about at the last meeting that we had just gotten, and we weren't in a position to make a decision that 2 weeks ago. But I have reviewed the host community agreement for all three. Again, they're three because they're separate, three separate projects, but they're all adjacent to each other. So if we want to go forward and approve those host community agreements, which provide the town with funds for hosting the facility, and also provides Sustainable Manlius with some money, and then we go into the pilot agreements, approve those also, which provides
It was 600 per megawatt.
I think it was 51.
So that's for the host community.
Because the host agreement is
1,500.
1,500
Is
for the
the
host
host community agreement. per megawatt.
Oh, I'm sorry. that's
Yeah.
the-
Per megawatt, yeah.
Yep, that's right.
But if we
we
want to do those first.
Yep.
Then we can look at the pilot, and I'll just look at the pilot.
Okay. That's right.
So do you want?
So I would like, if we can do each.
So there's six
Yeah.
separate motions on this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to go ahead?
What language would you like me to use in making this motion?
We would authorize the supervisor to sign the various host community benefit agreements with CDE US. as indicated in the agenda, and if you want to read each one.
We could
Make one motion for all
say-
three.
We could say
CVE
E-
US E15 Manlius East LLC,
Right.
Mhm.
then one for East E16 Manlius West LLC. So just go through
Yeah.
that in the parentheses.
All right, so we're authorizing the supervisor to accept them,
Enter into and sign the agreements.
enter into and sign agreement. All right, so I would like to make make a Mr. Motion. See, Elaine is so good at like writing things down. I'm so much better off the cuff. Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion authorizing you to enter into the agreement with CVE with the three various host community agreements. And then I will list them here. We're gonna do separate motions for each one, or we can do them all together if I list
No,
them.
let's do separate motions for the
Okay.
CVE US E15 Manlius
Okay.
East LLC.
So CVE US E15 Manlius East LLC.
Second on that.
Well, second.
Oh, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'd like to make a second motion authorizing the supervisor to enter into an agreement for the host community benefit agreement with CVE, and this is CVE US E16 Manlius West.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Very good.
And then finally, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the supervisor to enter into the agreement for the host community benefit agreement for Do Good CVE, and that's CVE US E14 Manlius North.
No,
LLC.
sorry. Okay.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Okay. Now we move on to the solar energy.
And I'm sorry, John, you were right. It is $605 per megawatt for one of the pilots, but we have to add them all up together.
I see.
And that's why it comes out to,
Oh,
I think,
the-
no, that's.
That's
$1,500
different,
for the-
yeah.
That's completely different.
Don't get confused over that.
Got too
A lot of
many
moving parts. over there.
Yeah.
You don't expect two different figures per megawatt for
Right.
different
Yeah,
projects.
yeah.
So if we want to just make a motion to approve the Town of Manlius 487 pilot for CVE US E15 Manlius East LLC. As set forth in the agenda.
But we're not doing West.
Yeah, we'll do that one
Okay.
So
also.
do the.
All right,
east
so
first.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Supervisor, that we enter into the pilot agreement with CVE. And this is Do Good CVE, CVE US E15 Manlius East.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right.
You're on a roll.
So
Let's do
under-
more.
Oh, yeah, so pilot, got it, and then host community.
Yeah, then, yeah, pilots are the last two.
Got it.
So just quickly, the difference is the host community agreement is
I was just looking at the
separate and
agenda.
distinct from the pilot.
Yes, of
Yep.
course.
Why are there only two pilot?
Because they're only putting the pilots on two of the properties.
Okay, so
Okay.
there's only one more motion. I'm not missing
Correct.
something. Okay. So Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion. I feel like I'm playing that game where you're like going on a picnic and in my basket. Said it so much sense. I'd like to make a motion to enter into a pilot agreement with CVE, this is Do Good CVE, CVE US E16 Manlius West LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Very good. Yeah, anything else you have for us tonight? Nope, that's it.
We're not going into executive session for an hour and a half.
Don't.
Don't tempt him.
Yeah, to my knowledge.
Very good. All right, we will move on to the town clerk. And tonight we have pitch hitting for Deb, for Allison is Deb Witzel tonight for us. Do you have anything for us?
Thank you, Deb.
Nothing. Okay, very good. Chief, I think, no, you don't, well, there's a budget amendment, but did you have anything that you wanted to cover?
Yeah, just a few, just depending on how you look at it, on Carl's calls for services compared to last year are down.
Yeah, oh,
The bad news is our part one and part two crimes, which is the bulk of our actual crime in the town, are almost equal.
oh,
So even though the calls for service are down, the major crime is about the same. Attribute that for traffic. We haven't been doing a lot of traffic.
Right.
Based on a whole slew of reasons. So,
mhm.
all of our officers that are in field training are doing really well. One or two of them are ready to be released anytime soon, which will really help out with the staffing concerns. And then lastly, today I gave a conditional offer of employment for a part-time cleaner.
Oh,
Finally found
oh,
somebody to
I
clean
did
our-
see that, yes.
our building.
Yep.
So,
Great.
She accepted that, and it's contingent on a couple things, but she should be out in line by Monday.
Excellent.
As it gives me a bad look, because she's gonna have to.
Well, we talked about that. didn't we? I left it. Okay. All right, very good, chief. And Ann, you have a budget amendment for us? Anything
Actually,
else?
it will be a budget modification.
Modification.
It's for the purchase of, and I think the chief discussed this, for a wellness app
Mhm.
for the police officers and their families. The budget modification will increase, we're going to increase the expenditure account of 3120,447 by $9,750.
Yep.
And the revenue will also be increased. I will get you that. I will let Deborah to provide you with the revenue account for that, because it's a reimbursement from
Right.
Turbo, which is our workers' comp.
Yep,
And the code in here is not quite right, so.
That's
So what we do need, a
But the reimbursement is for the same amount as the
same
expenditure.
amount,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Full
it's just,
100%.
So in the motion, when we're making it, should we say it's amended? Or do we go, because we have this letter that's listed here, if it's incorrect?
For the revenue.
Going to be, it's an increase in the expenditure and the revenue. I just don't have the correct one. The one that's listed is actually expenditure account, so.
it wouldn't be considered an amendment, or would it? Is it just a budget transfer?
Well, we could,
It's not a transfer, you're not transferring.
I'm sorry,
You're
it says
modifying the
budget
current
transfer,
budget
but
by
yeah,
increasing the
modify.
expenditure and increasing the revenue, which is.
So
Right.
perhaps the motion could say to the appropriate revenue account.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
sounds
that would be
good. Yeah.
sufficient.
Perfect.
Fair job, Sam.
And just so the board is aware, I did receive an email from Perma, and it was confirmed, we did win the grant. So
Oh,
well,
well, that's,
fantastic.
that's even better.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Chief, do you mind sharing with everyone or with the community what this is, what this app is?
Yeah.
Because it
so-
sounded great when I heard
The
about it.
product is called Code, and it's actually written and produced by another company, a very highly reputable company in law enforcement called Mexico. They're a risk mitigation business, and they started with a PhD. And what it is, it's essentially a wellness app for all of our law enforcement, but it's law enforcement specific. So for instance, if any of our officers are struggling with maybe a really bad call or having a hard time either at work or even at home, they can simply pick up their phone and dial right in and get almost immediate 24/7 assistance from a doctor, a counselor, or something like that. But it also goes beyond that, where it also allows them to access information about health and nutrition on their phone to improve, other areas of their overall wellness. So it's been very successful in other areas of the state. Permanent, obviously, is because they're reimbursing us 100%. They're on board with it, and I've heard nothing but great reviews. I'll be getting confidential reports on a quarterly basis after we begin the process to determine how often it's used, and hopefully it will get used a lot.
Yeah.
And we will be able to support our people independent from having to go to an EAP or somebody in my office or something to that.
So it's confidential for them to
Yes.
use.
Yes.
Correct.
And, but you get a holistic report, so you can get a temp check sort of how,
Yes,
what, yeah,
only-
the need.
Just numbers.
Yeah.
No names or, there are certain instances, of course, in any EAP program like this, where if it rises to a certain level, I'll get those notifications, but hopefully we never get that.
Is
In
there
our,
an expiration on that, Chief?
It's, the first year is 100% reimbursed by PERMA. Second year, I did sign a 2-year contract. Second year, we get partial reimbursement through New York State Chiefs Association at the tune of $3,000 or $4,000. And then if we get into year 3, there's always an option to cancel it if it's unused or ineffective. But in year 3, there's an annual fee that would be similar to year 1. I'll reevaluate after year 2 to determine how often it's being used and how effective it is.
And this is very important. The last 2 New York State Law Enforcement Accreditation Council meetings I attended, there was an emphasis on enhancing the accreditation for wellness for the police officers. So we're really ahead of the curve on what they were, recommending with the new accreditation.
And I
Because it
think,
is a big concern.
Elaine, at the Public Safety Advisory, that was a concern that
Yeah,
was
this is
expressed by
great.
the
Very much so.
residents, yeah.
Yes.
So it'd be important to kind of close the loop with that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, good point.
Absolutely.
Good point.
Getting back to that group, yeah.
21st model of policing from the Obama administration included an entire chapter on
Mm-hmm.
wellness.
Yeah.
So it's all in line with what we really should be doing for our police.
Absolutely, no doubt. Thank you, chief.
So sorry, did you make the motion?
No one's
I
made it
will
yet.
give you you can use the code A004-2770 since it's an unclassified revenue at this time.
A004.
2770. You're increasing, that's your revenue account.
So,
and then your
Okay,
so I'll make a motion to make a budget modification to increase expense and increase revenue to accommodate $9,750 for the wellness app.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Very good. Excellent. Thank you. Anything else, Ann, that you have? Good. Okay. The committee reports, we have a comprehensive planning steering committee report tonight.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's hear it.
We had, well, Sarah, did you want me to just highlight the fact that the report is in the Eagle Bulletin? And we can post it? Yeah, so we did an update. So we did an update for the, we authored an update that covered sort of where we've been since the last time we published publicly to the community broadly about the process. And so if you go to your Eagle Bulletin this week,
Yes.
it should be in there. It's online. We'll make sure it's available also on our
Is it
website.
online today? Yeah.
Yesterday it was online, so
Really?
yeah, it's all early, so, so you'll see that, and basically, we're pretty excited. We have engaged a few hundred folks significantly, but our goal is to engage a couple thousand folks significantly. And that is going to take some more surveying and some more outreach on our part. And we are going to be having multiple quick surveys for people to participate in, 2 study groups, one on the quarry and one on stormwater management. And what am I missing?
We're doing a couple of listening sessions.
Yeah.
And we're solo. No, actually, the solar study group is done.
Yeah. Yes.
I remember flooding was gonna be part of the stormwater, because we've
Yeah.
had so many folks that were interested in hearing more about how they might be able to resolve the flooding issues on their private.
Yeah, we
property.
actually added, that was not in the original plan in the spring, but after this summer.
Yeah.
it's in the plan.
Good.
Exactly. So the format for things are, so, just, we mentioned Barbara Rivette's video. So we did those early stage listening sessions, and we're going to do 2 more of those taped. You can access on your own time listening sessions. We're going to still continue the outreach we needed to do in a targeted manner with seniors, and really push with some affinity groups and work with the local businesses, the business community. And then the study groups, the format is that they will convene in January and meet and hear from experts in February, March, and April, and then have a final meeting and make recommendations to the board based on their findings in the spring.
Great.
And by May. And honestly, there are things that happen at the town that I think that the comprehensive planning group will get to comment on. There are initiatives and things that will come up that the comprehensive planning steering committee is going to be called upon, I think, to engage in as well.
But we really want the whole community to go to the website and
Yeah.
take the survey.
Yeah,
That's the number one. Thank
I'm a
you. That's the
little,
point.
I'm a little selfish there, but that's a big part of this, the Eagle Bulletin Centers, the survey, quite a bit to push people there. This is a short one. They're all going to be fairly short, but this is our new civil space platform. So we'd love feedback. Was the survey useful? Was it not exciting to take, but was it engaging, I guess? And I know we're going to be rolling that out a little bit throughout the month. I know the Eagle Bulletin's the first time there's like a public link available. We're going to be posting it on our Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And then I think too, we're going to be sending out email updates to everybody. So really excited. A lot of work went in behind the scenes for civil space, and we're very hopeful that we'll get some good information out of it.
Sounds good. A lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Maybe I'll take that survey.
Yeah, right.
You better take.
I will take that
survey.
survey, yes. Very good.
Can I have a sustainable Manlius update. I apologize.
Sure,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
get it onto the
Yep.
agenda.
Yep.
So we had our monthly meeting last week on Thursday and it was very productive. Heather joined us and she, per her invitation, we had Patrick, what was that? McDonald joined us from Skinny Atlas. He's a Skinny Atlas resident and he has a CNY compost organization that he's gotten started up. So he presented on how we might be able to have a pilot program here in Manlius for composting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it would be very interesting. We're pursuing, exploring it further. But it was a great discussion. And we had, and we talked more about how a sustainable Manlius can be a committee that helps us as a town board to better understand and address issues that are coming up, like flooding, for example. And the committee did decide not to pursue, Tim, what you and I had discussed. Something they felt more comfortable with something less formal. But we will be putting that to the committee as things come up. So if things are coming up during our board meetings and someone says, Sustainable Manlius can look into this, we're actually building an infrastructure inside the committee so that they can do research and do reports and then send it back to us and send it back to me so that it's like fully prepared with a recommendation or different resources. Following that meeting, I had a conversation with a colleague of mine, Eric Bradley. He and I served together on the Greater Manlius Chamber of Commerce Board. And he has accepted an offer to be our new community chair.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, that's
awesome.
brand new information for everybody.
That's great.
So Eric has become a friend of mine over the last several months, and I don't have many friends. I mostly just have like my kids and the people who I work with. So I've like gone out to dinner with him and his husband a bunch of times. It's been awesome to like make friends, and he's so effective. He's really, really great. He was such a great board member on the chamber board, which is where I met him.
He's in the Homewood neighborhood with me and he's always, they have like a quarterly
Oh,
neighborhood event. I
really?
think, they're doing, I think lights for the
Yeah.
holidays.
Mhm.
It's,
He engages.
yeah,
folks
he
and-
Well,
he
that's
definitely
good.
knows what he's doing.
It's a nice
So
way to
he's going to be, he's going to bring a lot of professionalism and leadership, and he stays on top of things. He remembers to do things that he says he's going to do. It's just going to be great. So he's going to not only be the community chair, but he's also going to chair that new kind of advisory committee.
Right.
And so he'll work with a smaller team and then they'll bring those things back. And then, there was, we talked about a lot of stuff. It was a fantastic meeting. But those were the key points I wanted to highlight for everyone. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. That's a lot. That's a lot.
yeah, I'm very excited to have a community chair.
Yes.
And Ryan
I
is
can
back in
tell.
town for our emeritus community chair.
Oh.
He's
Oh,
back
that's
from
right.
college.
Yes, right.
And he's working with us on climate smart communities. We're gonna reapply by the January deadline, and fingers crossed we get it this time. So a
Excellent.
lot of work going on right now with our committee.
Way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, snuck that one in there.
I see.
The last thing I have is the supervisor's report, which just needs approval. I always print out the balance sheet because it's this thinnest. But so I just need a motion to approve my report for October 2021.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the supervisor's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And lastly, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Go on really fast.
I'm like keyed up. I make a
Second.
motion left and right over here.
Did you second? Really?
I think.
Karen seconded? Okay.